Hey, good afternoon, everyone. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle just giving you some live streaming information. We've got things picking back up again across the area. Storms getting a little bit better organized, a little stronger with multiple severe thunderstorm warnings now in place here across the Tennessee Valley. We're going to focus in a little bit closer on some of these storms, including the one moving into Huntsville right now across the area. These storms capable of producing damaging wind and also some hail up to quarter size. Those are the main threats. But let's take a look here of what we got going on right now. Again, we'll show you the big picture currently in place. This is the wide view. Multiple severe thunderstorm warnings right now for the Shoals, for the Decatur area, also for Huntsville. These are going to be noisy. They're going to produce a lot of rainfall. Rain's coming down on our heads right now outside our studio here on top of Montesano with the storm coming into Madison County. And again, the possibility these could bring some strong wind gusts as well as some hail. In addition, frequent lightning, heavy rainfall. You see the storm right over downtown Huntsville right now. One core here. There's another one, South Parkway, down into the Lacey Spring area. So much of Huntsville from downtown south is dealing with heavy rain and downpours at this point in time. And again, there's going to be the possibility that we could see some severe weather. Some winds up to 60 miles per hour. That could bring down some trees, maybe knock out some power in some areas. Also, the frequent lightning could also contribute to some power outages. What we're not seeing, the weather setup is not really favorable for sustained severe weather threats. So this is going to be something the storms will kind of come and go. Brief window of opportunity where they may produce some strong winds, so we do expect severe weather impacts are most likely going to be fairly isolated in nature. Here's the latest on the hail tracker, and again, occasionally some hail cores showing up. The ones moving into downtown Huntsville and near Lacey Spring there going across the Tennessee River, not showing signs of big hail, but there have been a few instances of some hail reported around the area this afternoon up to quarter size, so that's a possibility. I don't think we're seeing that right now in Huntsville, mainly some heavy rainfall. Another hail core on the Limestone-Madison County line, probably a little bit bigger here, maybe dime-size, penny-size hail being indicated there. And we do continue to watch the wind shear in the atmosphere, or at least the possibility of rotation, and we've not been really seeing significant signs of that, particularly the tornado potential remains fairly low with the storms moving on through. But the possibility some of these potentially could produce some strong wind as they move on through. We may be seeing that around the Owens Crossroads area, crossing 431, going through Hampton Cove, Owens Crossroads, tracking towards Gurley. Some strong wind potentially here as well with this activity moving on through. Let's kind of track it all out for you, show you where this is going. Again, Huntsville's kind of right in the thick of it right now. And this storm and complex of storms will be tracking north and east, hitting Meridianville on the north end here in the next few minutes, Newmarket by 3:29, and then heading through Gurley as we work our way through the next 15-20 minutes. Princeton, Alabama, there in Jackson County around 3:39, into the Skyline, High Top area around 3:50, 3:55. So again, the potential that we will see perhaps some strong wind out of some of these storms as they continue to move on through. That will be one of the threats, and occasionally looking at the possibility for some damaging wind arriving as well with these storms as they're tracking on through. Let me take this information off. We're going to take a closer look here, checking out what we've got in terms of the wind velocities in these storms. Again, we're not really set up for a tornado threat, but what we are seeing is some strong wind gusts. One indication of that now moving along Highway 72 Chapman Mountain area. Some strong wind being indicated here a little east of downtown. Winds are gusting along the leading edge of this storm as it is moving through, again, portions of Madison County. Other strong storms back out to the west, including portions of Morgan County and back into areas in the Shoals. So we have another strong storm. This is the one where we had that little bitty hail core on the Limestone-Madison County line. So again, the possibility coming into Madison right now, especially south of 565, the Triana area, towards the ballpark. Maybe some hail that could be dime or penny sized out of that storm, and some severe weather possible with that. And then back out here into the shoals and northwest Alabama, other strong storms. We've got the heaviest one approaching Town Creek right now, with the possibility for some strong wind here. Now let me take a look, closer view at this storm. You can see some of that strong wind indicated in the brighter green here, southwest of Town Creek, again towards Old Bethel and the Bingham area. So again, the possibility for some strong gusty wind here that could do a little bit of damage. Let me switch radar perspectives. This is going to be the radar out of Columbus, Mississippi. And similar situation here. Color is going to be reversed because the radar is in an opposite location, but an indication of some push of some stronger wind here showing up. Again, just southwest of the Town Creek area. This is going to be passing north of Hatton, but close to Town Creek. Again, some winds, 40, 50, maybe up to 60 miles per hour can be expected out of this thunderstorm as it moves on through as well. So kind of a lot going on. Again, some of these storms packing a bit of a punch. We're also going to have to watch for maybe some flooding out here in the shoals, where we did have quite a bit of rain earlier with heavier storm activity around midday, and we are adding to that. The only thing that may limit the intensity of some of these storms out in the shoals is the fact that we did have a good bit of rain a little bit earlier. Strong storms showing up just northwest of Athens towards Mount Rosal and Lester there in Limestone County. And again, very active storms moving through Madison County right now. And these are quite electrical as they are tracking across Madison County. And again, with heavy rainfall, possibility for some small hail and maybe some strong gusty wind moving through with some of this activity as well here across portions of the greater Huntsville area. Again, a lot of this is just going to be kind of noisy. The rain's coming down heavily. That's what we're hearing on top of Montesano right now, just very heavy rainfall, quite a bit of thunder and lightning, but hopefully keeping the severe weather activity as a whole fairly minimal. There is the concern that some strong wind may evolve from the storms, again, that we have here over Madison County. So that is going to be our main concern short term. You can almost kind of see this. These storms are all kind of, there's the latest update, kind of congealing into just a little complex. And it's going to be along the leading edge of this where we are going to see the possibility for some strong wind developing. So if you're in Gurley, if you're in Princeton, just be aware this is headed your way, and these storms as they move in may be accompanied by some very strong wind gusts as they move on through. Again, potentially upwards 50, 60 miles per hour in some cases. Again, here's a look at what we are seeing wind-wise. Again, this is using the closest radar, which is in Jackson County. And again, right over Chapman Mountain, that brighter green there, that's where we are picking up, again, some stronger wind. You know, perhaps in excess of 30 miles per hour, maybe a little bit higher. That would certainly be a possibility. And potentially wind that could be on the order of maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour. So that's where we're seeing kind of the zone right now of strongest winds. So again, this would be tracking, looks like towards Maysville and Greenfield. But again, some strong wind farther south from there that'll be coming into the Gurley area as well. This is what we are primarily watching with this storm right now, although some hail continues to be indicated as well back across the southwest part of Madison County. Although that's come down a little bit. And this is kind of what we've been seeing with these storms this afternoon. Occasionally we get these stronger hail cores that briefly produce some larger hail, nickel to quarter size perhaps, but it doesn't last very long. The weather setup, these storms are not really able to sustain themselves, so they do reach peak intensity for a brief period of time and then they start to weaken, and that's been kind of the trend. So that's what we're seeing here as well. As I go back in time here, you see this hail core that's set up a little east of Decatur, right where Madison, Limestone, Morgan County come together. There's probably some, a penny, nickel-sized hail perhaps at that point. And then as that storm continued to head into southwest Madison County, the hail core basically collapsed. So whatever hail was falling kind of fell on out. No new hail is being generated at this point. And so we've kind of lost that signature. So some brief larger hail, and we'll emphasize that. These are not going to be swaths of large hail that are going to fall across the area. Again, the bigger concern is going to be the possibility that some of these storms may produce some strong wind gusts at times as they roll on through. But even that, I think, is going to be fairly limited in nature. We did have some strong wind. In fact, a swath of that a little bit earlier, using our rotation tracker, looking at the wind shear in the atmosphere east of Fayetteville that moved into Franklin County. And that was probably the most significant wind signature that we've seen here, at least in the last little bit. Otherwise, there's not been, too many indications of that. A little bit earlier this afternoon, some stronger wind indicated in Franklin County and also into parts of Giles County in Tennessee. So again, the storms that we have going on through, yes, they're packing a punch, they're loud, they're dumping heavy rainfall. As far as a sustained severe weather threat where we're going to see one storm maintain its intensity over a large distance, just not set up for that. These storms, though, briefly packing a punch with, again, the possibility for some hail and some brief strong wind gusts as well. And that's kind of what we are seeing out of all of this. Severe thunderstorm warning for Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin County. That's being allowed to expire at 3:30. That was for the storm that I mentioned heading into the Town Creek area. So it looks like that's going to be allowed to expire. But we do have, again, continued strong storm activity working its way here across parts of the shoals as well. We've had some reports, again, of some quarter-sized hail at times, a handful of reports of some stronger wind. The airports, Huntsman International Airport, with storms that are moving through the downtown area and now points eastward, did produce winds there. Earlier, it looks like 55 miles per hour. That's just below what's considered severe wind. We've also had a few reports of some tree damage in some areas as well as a result of the strong wind coming on through. So just prepare, again, for kind of a bumpy rest of your Friday afternoon. Again, we got a couple clusters of storms, one here into the shoals, possibility for some strong wind with that coming across Lawrence County. And we've got other strong storms, Madison County. And the ones in Madison County right now are the ones that are currently the most intense. Take a quick look at the winds in the storms. There's nothing that I'm seeing that's rotating wind in particular. You look up a little bit higher in some of these storms, there has been at least some brief rotation in some of them. That's what's contributed to the hail generation. But what we aren't seeing in the low levels of these storms is any sort of significant rotation. So that really kind of eliminates the tornado threat. We won't say it can't happen or won't happen, but just it would be highly unlikely in this sort of weather setup that we would get a tornado. If something were to happen, it would be extremely brief. Very, very brief, even briefer than a lot of ours tend to be around here. So again, our primary concern is going to be for some strong wind, particularly in the green that you see here. Latest scan update coming through. So that push of stronger wind has made it through downtown Huntsville, now moving through eastern Madison County, approaching Gurley, and just off to the west of Princeton. So if you're here, we'll say south of Newmarket, near and north of Gurley, basically Highway 72 over Chapman Mountain and points northward, we are looking at the possibility for some strong wind in this storm as it's continuing to press on off into eastern Madison County and eventually into northwest parts of Jackson County. Otherwise, just a lot of rain. We're seeing that again through Hampton Cove, Owens Crossroads, down to New Hope. Good bit of thunder and lightning as well. That is one part of this cluster. And again, the leading edge of this is where we are seeing the possibility for some strong wind from Gurley back off to the north and west. Again, the worst of the weather has kind of come through downtown Huntsville. There is another storm, though, back out towards the airport along 565 into parts of Madison down towards Triana. A lot of thunder and lightning out of this, some heavy rainfall. Again, occasionally there has been some hail showing up. That hail core, though, has diminished a good bit. Some hail as well, some small hail perhaps here in through parts of, again, Hampton Cove going down Governors on the other side of Montesano into the McMullen Cove area, down to Owens Crossroads, even down towards New Hope. New hail core showing up in that direction with that part of this cluster of storms that is moving on through. And you can actually kind of see that, the brighter, what we call reflectivity here near New Hope. That's a result of some hail being detected by the radar. That's just outside of the severe thunderstorm warning area, so possible Weather Service may do another severe thunderstorm warning or at least change the orientation of the current one to include this new development towards New Hope for the possibility of some hail there. So expect that coming through southeast Madison County, and then it is going to be crossing over into parts of Jackson County. So if you're over here, we'll say towards Paint Rock, Woodville area, just beyond Gurley, possibility of some hail moving into that corner of Jackson County along Highway 72 there. Again, we've got that storm. We do have others back to the west. Again, a strong storm here near Town Creek. Heavy rainfall, though, over kind of this whole area, likely not allowing this to get too organized. But heavy rainfall, quite a bit of lightning, Town Creek, Hillsborough to Rogersville. Watch out for some flooding in these areas. Again, we've had some heavy rain here earlier, so this is coming on top of that, particularly those county roads that easily flood. Be on the lookout for that, parts of Lawrence and eastern Lauderdale County. Take a quick look here. Still could be some strong wind, and the brighter green that you see here around Town Creek, this is kind of looking a little high up into these storms, so not necessarily close to the ground. Here's a better view, a little closer. And again, in the vicinity of Town Creek, again, some strong wind. What we're not seeing in here is any sort of rotating wind. So again, tornado potential, not something that we're real concerned about here. This is getting a little closer to our Decatur radar, so just a quick look at that. There's the reflectivity picking up on the leading edge of the heavier storms, again moving into Hillsborough. This would be tracking towards Trinity. Near and north of Decatur is where the strongest part of this storm will be coming on through. And a quick look here at the wind velocity. Again, nothing that's concerning in terms of rotating winds. But again, near Town Creek and now a little east of there, possibility for some stronger wind. That'll be right along Alabama Highway 20, alternate 72 in that part of Lawrence, and eventually heading into parts of Morgan County. So again, two main threats we're looking at with the storms through this afternoon, and that is going to be the possibility for wind gusts up to 60, and also the possibility of occasionally some of these storms are capable of producing some hail, maybe up to quarter size. Officially, we are under a severe thunderstorm watch across the area. I'll show you the outline of that. Earlier, the watch included basically Limestone County to the west, and then I guess an hour or so ago, new severe thunderstorm watch came out that covered the remainder of North Alabama, with the exception of Cherokee County in the northeast corner of the state. So this goes until 8 o'clock this evening. Don't think we'll have anything to worry about beyond that. You folks out here towards the shoals, I'll check with Amber. Amber, I know the original watch went until 5 in northwest Alabama, so did they change the time on that one or just issued another watch?
I think they just issued another watch.
Okay. All right. So you folks out here into the shoals, and I'll show you the bigger picture here in a second. Your severe thunderstorm watch goes until 5 o'clock. So we've got, what, another hour and a half for that one. And then the watch, basically I-65 eastward, goes until 8 o'clock this evening. So things will wind down in the shoals first, and then across the rest of the area as we head through the remainder of the evening hours. Again, just seeing a few more reports here. Let me just check on the latest information from the Weather Service. So there is a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes Franklin, Lawrence, Coleman, Morgan County. So that is for what's rolling through Town Creek right now. And they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that includes Madison and Jackson County for that hail core that I was showing you near New Hope. So they did go ahead and add a warning for that storm. And again, the result of seeing that hail signature that I was just pointing out. So let me get back over here, and I'm going to put the radar back up. We're going to run through all the warnings that we have. And just a reminder, with these sort of storms moving on through, the wind, the hail, the lightning threat, just make sure you stay inside. If you got to be out running errands, hold off until things get a little bit better. You don't want to be out driving in this. And those are the main things you need to keep in mind. Again, these are not necessarily going to be tornado-producing storms. They may produce some strong wind. They may produce some large hail. Those are the main threats, along with the heavy rain and the intense lightning. All right, so you see that little bitty severe thunderstorm warning. So they did. They issued a new warning, which I think was completely appropriate. Outside of the existing warning, which covered Gurley to Princeton to High Top, you can see the second warning drawn here started around New Hope. And again, that was for that hail core that is going to be coming through the Paint Rock Valley, Paint Rock, Woodville area, that southwestern corner of Jackson County. Again, the possibility for some hail out of that storm, maybe a little gusty wind developing as well. So let's take a look at our hail core. And one of the things we've seen, the hail cores have not lasted long. So there we go. Still showing around New Hope. This is probably a few minutes old. And we're already seeing the hail core kind of diminish. So that's what I was showing you just a moment ago. A little bit more blue in it, indication of some larger hail. Up to quarter size, probably a little bit below that, but perhaps up to quarter size. And the latest update here from the hail product showing that's diminished a little bit. And that's kind of been what we've seen. We've seen these storms briefly blow up, intensify, show these hail cores, some of which have been significant at times, but then very, very quickly, it's almost like the storm flares up, produces the hail, and then all the hail drops out, and then that's it. What we're lacking in the atmosphere, and the reason why we don't have the tornado threat, is one of the things that is an ingredient in severe weather is wind shear in the atmosphere. How does the wind change with speed and direction as you go up from the surface higher into the atmosphere? We have here across North Alabama pretty much the bare minimum of wind shear to produce severe weather. So that's why the threat's not a little bit more sustained. We also don't have a lot of low-level spin in the atmosphere, which would be a quick turning of the winds in the lowest part of the atmosphere. That contributes towards tornado production. So two kind of things that kind of factor in there that are lacking, and which is why we're not real concerned about tornado potential. But enough wind shear that, yes, the storms can briefly produce some hail, but not enough wind shear that the storms are really able to sustain themselves for a long period of time and over a long distance. So that's kind of why we're seeing what we're seeing with the storms. They briefly get kind of nasty and move on through and produce a wind and hail threat. And then it's just primarily a lot of rain and a lot of lightning that we're seeing. So still some hail possibilities northeast of New Hope. This is getting ready to cross into Jackson County. So again, if you're here towards areas east of Gurley, we're talking around the communities here. You head through Paint Rock, you head through the Woodville area. This is where we're going to see perhaps some hail coming through that could be up to quarter size. This is about ready to cross Highway 72 here south western parts of Jackson County. But again, already starting to see that hail core diminish just a little bit. Outside of that, there is going to be the possibility for some strong wind. I think we still have that potential here. Basically, the leading edge of the heaviest rainfall, which is going to be moving into Princeton, a little north of Pleasant Groves, up towards the Skyline High Top area. Possibility we get some strong wind out of this. Could be 40, 50, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. Quick look at the closest radar here. And you can see the wind shift. Green is towards the radar. Reds are away, relatively speaking. So here's your wind shift right here where we go from green to red. This lines up with the leading edge of that heavier rainfall coming on in. And again, within this, where we could see some stronger wind. Although I will say we're not seeing quite as strong as the storm is now getting closer to the radar, which means what we were seeing back in Madison County, a little higher up in the air, as we're scanning closer to the ground with the storm getting closer to the radar, which is here in northwest Jackson County, not really seeing that strong of a wind signature showing up at this point. So that could mean just some stronger wind aloft, but sometimes that can be brought down in very quick fashion down to the surface. Just watching, just catches my eye. Sometimes things catch my eye that I want to take a look at. Okay, not real concerned. Just kind of a look. More heavy rain coming through downtown Huntsville right now. This is not associated with the severe weather threat. This is just rainfall. So even though still officially in the severe thunderstorm warning area here downtown Huntsville, severe weather threat is out here on the Madison-Jackson County line. And again, tracking east. And we've got two cores with this storm. One is a hail threat moving into Paint Rock, Woodville area, and the other is going to be a strong wind threat moving into the Princeton area. Just some additional rain back into Huntsville and back out towards Madison right now. We've got other strong storms here in the northwest corner of the state out towards the Shoals. Strongest part of this cluster of storms, area of rain and embedded thunderstorm activity, again, east of the North Cortland area, east of Town Creek, approaching Trinity. Likely going to be clipping parts of Decatur as well. Got some other strong storms. Looks like some new warnings here. This is for northwest Coleman County near Jones Chapel. This one's moving northeast. This has a hail threat. Falkville to Hartselle in the path of this storm. We'll have to wait and see if that hail course sustains itself. There it was a few minutes ago, right over Jones Chapel. But again, what we've been seeing out of these storms is they've had trouble kind of maintaining those hail cores. But that will be the next thing that we're watching here. So let me give you some updated track information on all of this. We'll track this storm into Morgan County, again with primarily a hail threat out of it. This will be coming into Falkville in the next 8 minutes, 3:37 currently. This is 3:45, estimated time of arrival. Hartselle area around 3:51. Again, the possibility for hail up to quarter size out of this storm. That's the main threat out of it right now. If it holds together, gets towards the Priceville area around 4 o'clock, into the Winton community around 4:05, Swancott by 4:11 on this storm. Let me clear this off. Take you back into Madison, actually primarily Jackson County now. Severe thunderstorm warning continues with this cluster of storms. Couple hazards depending on your location. Southern end of this cluster of storms, it's a hail threat. Northern part of it is going to be for a strong wind threat with some winds perhaps 50, maybe up to 60 miles per hour. Princeton coming in the next few minutes. Skyline 3:55 towards High Top, which is where the radar is right at 4 o'clock. The Jericho area 4:01, and then this will continue to work its way into parts of Franklin County in southern Middle Tennessee. And generally staying, it looks like, north of Scottsboro. So this cluster of storms, if you're kind of monitoring things here from the Scottsboro area, most of this is going to pass just to your north. So north of Scottsboro, again, towards Skyline, probably eventually this moves through Stevenson in the northeast corner of Jackson County. So that is that area of stronger storms. And then back out to the west, we've got this batch of heavier storm activity near Hillsboro in particular and into southern parts of Limestone County. Quick look at hail. Not really seeing a hail signature out of this, so I don't think that's a concern. And taking a look at the wind shear rotation product, nothing really jumping out at this point out of this activity. I would say at the moment, this is probably our least likely area of storms currently under severe thunderstorm warnings to produce any sort of severe weather. But let's track the heavier part of this across parts of northwest Morgan County in through Limestone County as well. Again, this is where the most intense part of this larger area of rain with embedded thunderstorm activity coming on through. Trinity by 3:43, Athens coming in around 3:50, into the Tanner area around 3:52, Belmina a little bit after 4 o'clock this afternoon. But again, this is likely our least likely storm to produce some severe weather, I think, at this point here across North Alabama. Let me kind of reset the view for you. Then I'm going to take a look at some of the comments, particularly on Facebook. Let's see what we've got. So again, multiple storms, multiple clusters of storms, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. Probably going to have more of these as this activity continues to come on through. Relatively quiet if you're in Sand Mountain. We had a little bit of activity around midday. But other than that, there's not been a whole lot going on here in Marshall, Jackson, DeKalb County. You're under that severe thunderstorm watch though until 8 o'clock this evening. So eventually what we've got here in Madison County and back out in the northwest corner of the state is going to shift eastward on into parts of Sand Mountain and northeastern Alabama. So we will be monitoring for perhaps some additional opportunities for some severe weather here as well. A lot of this activity is being driven by daytime heating. So that's why we do expect and why the severe thunderstorm watch only goes until 8, doesn't go beyond that, because the expectation is outside of any of this kind of organizing into some sort of well-defined line of storms, these storms are going to lose their punch, lose their intensity as the atmosphere starts to cool this evening, as that daytime heating is one of the big factors why everything has kind of blown up this afternoon across the area. There is some upper level support, don't get me wrong, and that's the reason why there's a severe weather threat, is because some of the upper level energy and the upper level wind flow. But again, it's the daytime heating that's kind of fueling a lot of what we have going on this afternoon. So as we kind of lose that this evening, a lot of this activity, although it may still rain into the evening hours, the severe weather threat is going to go down. We are, I think, going to wrap up the live updates here on our streaming. We've been doing some live streaming here, social media, Facebook, also on our YouTube channel, the WAAY 31 YouTube channel, streaming on our website, streaming on our apps as well. Coming up here in less than 20 minutes, though, WAAY 31 News at 4. You can watch that, of course, streaming on our website and on our apps, and, of course, flip on the TV as well. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Again, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. Some of these storms, as they move through, in some isolated cases, are going to be capable of producing some hail up to quarter size and maybe some damaging wind gusts. And we have gotten a few reports of that out of some of this activity that it's been moving on through. But again, going to stop the stream for now as we kind of reset and get ready to do our 4 o'clock news. And of course, I'll have the latest updates here with 31 triple Doppler. And we're going to take you through the forecast, not only looking at a storm threat the rest of this evening, but some storms will be coming through tomorrow as well. I'll have a breakdown on that activity and how it's likely to impact your weekend. Again, coming up here in about 15 minutes on WAAY 31 News at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, if you want to keep an eye on what's going on radar-wise, you can access 31 triple Doppler with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. Going to step away for just a second, but I will see you again within 15 minutes on air on WAAY 31 News at 4 o'clock.